James?
57% of voters approved Issue 2 legalizing recreational marijuana use last month. But the General Assembly is trying to make last-minute changes to that law before it goes into effect Thursday morning at midnight. Today, the Republican Senate proposal that would dramatically change that is getting a full hearing, setting up a big day tomorrow. The Senate version eliminates growing pot plants at home, raises the tax rate from 10 to 15%, and significantly changes where those tax monies would go. The original Issue 2 allowed 6 plants at home per person and sends some of the tax dollars to a new social equity and jobs fund. The Senate version debated today would send money to law enforcement as well as to the state general fund. We still have yet to hear proposals from the House, but those are being introduced tomorrow, apparently with a focus on allowing those with previous marijuana convictions to have their criminal records expunged now that it's legal in the state. At the committee today, lawmakers heard from some of those who opposed the sale of marijuana entirely, and there was also this exchange between Committee Chair Michael Rulli and an Ohio medical marijuana processor.
This new age of industrialized marijuana is not for the faint of heart. Families are no match for the addiction for profit marijuana industry that has gotten away with predatory practices with minimal accountability in other states.
If Issue 2 goes through just like it is, what happens to the processors of Ohio?
We will be completely out of business.
Out of business.
Yes.
Now here's a look at what's happening in the next day as the deadline approaches. The proposed House changes are being introduced tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the Ohio State House, and then the full Senate version likely takes up its case, assuming it passes out of the committee today. And then the full Senate meets at 1:30. The full House meets at 2 p.m. If both bills pass, then members of a conference committee would meet to try and hammer out those differences before midnight, when the original Issue 2 goes into effect. A 2/3 majority is needed to pass it with the emergency provision to make it law immediately and supersede the original Issue 2, but it's unclear whether that's going to happen given the apparent vast differences between the two houses at this point. Back to you guys.
All right, James. And one big issue being debated is how much cannabis you can have on your person, especially if you're driving and get pulled over. Issue 2 didn't really put in place any limits. The Senate version would limit amounts to about 2 to 3 days use and require it to be kept inside its packaging in the trunk of a vehicle. Another question, whether the new law allows someone who buys marijuana legally in Michigan to bring it into Ohio. The answer is no, because it is still banned under federal law. But once in Ohio, it would be legal to own and use under state law. And we are covering this story every day this week on Local 12 News. We're going to be live from Columbus tomorrow. You can stay up to speed with any developments with alerts sent directly to your mobile device. Download the Local 12 app using the QR code that you see on your screen.
Thanks for checking out the Local 12 YouTube channel. Click the links and tap subscribe to get notified anytime we post.